I heard a voice telling me that I was going to be okay. And at that time, I became very disoriented and was completely lost in the forest. So I'll jump forward to the fourth night. I'm sitting in almost complete darkness, and I feel like something is watching me when I notice two silhouettes of people moving towards me. I get up to run and trip on a tree limb just as I feel hands grabbing me. The next thing, I must have blacked out. The next thing I know, I'm in a dungeon in a cave. It's dark. There's rats and insects crawling all over me, and the stench is just horrible. It smells like sulfur. I can hear people screaming and crying in pain, and I just knew I must be in hell. And the next thing I know, I'm sitting in the back of a cart being pulled by a horse, and this cart stops at a lake of fire, and inside this lake are thousands of people. I mean, just people everywhere, and they're trying to get out of the lake of fire. And as they're trying to get out, there's demons surrounding the lake, and as they try and get out, the demons pick them up and throw them back into the lake and beat them down with clubs that they're holding in their hands. And I was terrified. I thought, this is what's going to happen to me. I'm going to be thrown in that fire. So the next thing I remember, I'm lying face down on a board, and my face is looking forward, and my mouth is gagged, and I'm tied down. I'm watching a movie screen of my life. It was a life review. And in this review, I see myself as a child and teen and adult. And I see the good things and the bad things that I've done, sins that and mistakes that I made. And I thought, this is the end of me. I'm going to die here and be thrown back into that lake of fire. I felt myself vomiting, and I was trying to scream, and I felt myself vomiting, and it felt like I choked on my vomit and died. The next thing I know, I'm going through a tunnel, like a vortex. All around me were stars, and it appeared like I was going through space. And in front of me was white light. And as I came closer, it was a planet that had all these beautiful colors around it, like a crystal light and atmosphere. And I just assumed that I must be in heaven, and came to a white castle, a large white castle. The castle was glowing in that luminous white light. And the next thing I know, I'm looking down at myself, and I see myself being submerged in a pool of water. And it felt like it was maybe I was being purified or maybe blessed, I'm not sure. Then I found myself sitting in a large chair, like a throne, and the aura was like a fiery light. And I remember hearing God's voice telling me that I was going to be okay, and that if I was willing to share my story, that I could help a lot of people. Sitting around me were probably about a dozen people in those same large chairs, and we were sitting in a circle. In the middle of the circle was a hologram of Earth, and God told me, this is the state of Earth right now, and things that are yet to happen. As I watched these clips, Earth play out, I saw volcanoes and forest fires, earthquakes, and people in poverty. It just looked like we were suffering. People on Earth were suffering. And worst of all was a zombie apocalypse. And I was just horrified and shocked. And it appeared that these people were rabid, that they were sick with something. They were confined in cages trying to get out. And I asked God, why does this have to happen? Can't you give us a second chance? You know, it's hard to live on Earth. You know, we all make mistakes and we suffer a lot. And, you know, does this have to happen? And he said that this does not have to happen, that there's still time to change things, that he loves us. And the thing is that people don't believe in God anymore at all, and they don't have a relationship with God. And if they can come back home and pray to God again and obey the 10 Commandments, this can all be changed. So the last thing I remember is being held in his arms. I never saw his face. I only saw like his silhouette. And I remember him telling me that I would be okay, that I was going to suffer more, but I would be okay if I shared my story and that I would help a lot of people. So that was my last memory of heaven, is that beautiful love and happiness that I've never known before in my life. The next thing I know, I'm standing at the edge of an abyss, and behind me is what appeared to be the place where I had been tied down, and the fluorescent lights were glowing all around the building. So I knew I had a choice. I could either stay here and maybe be caught again and taken back to hell, or I could walk across that abyss and maybe be found, be like scaffolding. And it was about 10 inches wide and about 250 yards across to the other side. So I start walking across this abyss, and all of the pain that I felt before, all of the fear, I was just in shock and completely confused on what was happening. But I knew I had to make it across the abyss. Below me was this void of, I knew if I fell off the scaffolding that I would probably fall forever. I finally make it to the other side, and I'm just collapsed in gratitude and really feel like angels had been helping me make it across. When I looked back, the scaffolding was swaying in the wind, and I was shocked that I had even made it across. I'm praying to God, please help me, send me a sign where to go. I'm so lost. And at that time, a hummingbird comes and circles around my head and starts flying north. So I follow this hummingbird for a while, and it leaves, and I'm praying again to please help me and send me another sign. And a large bumblebee comes and does the same thing. It circles around my head and starts flying north. So I'm praying again, and this time a butterfly comes and is leading me again in that northern direction. The terrain is changing.